Yes, guys, welcome back. Football's back. Racism's gone. Have you noticed that? Twitter timeline. Mine looks good.
What? I saw you tweet it the other day.
What? No, come again.
Bro, you've been on Twitter recently?
No,
not really.
The timeline's been crazy. Like during obviously like everything going on.
Yeah.
But like they switched on like the racism algorithm. Like everyone's timeline's just like crazy right wing stuff.
Right.
And now football's back. It's all gone.
It's all football.
It's all football now.
Man,
the timeline's
such a joke.
Timeline's hills. I'm happy, man. It's great.
Welcome.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Random start. Let's do the regular stuff. So, for those of you who aren't subscribe to the channel. We've also now got our first Patreon exclusive episode out, which is a banger. You would have seen some clips on Instagram. It's a banger. So sign up to the Patreon.
Yeah, big up to all the new patrons as well.
Yeah, we need to start naming people out. We will start bringing a list. But yeah, just come join the fun. Speaking of football, we've got a huge football fan in the studio. He's also a drum and bass producer and DJ. But
is he?
I'd say Spurs fan first, maybe.
Football fan first.
Football
Spurs,
fan.
100%
Yeah.
football fan
like
first.
Spurs, are a big part of it, but
Yeah.
playing football sits quite high.
Number one.
As someone who's really keen on football, you make me look like a part-timer. Like you are football mad.
Well, yeah, me and Rich, we played a bit together.
Yeah.
once upon a time.
With
Seb.
Seb and that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
A few of those lot, your brother and stuff. Yeah,
That's good fun.
Yeah, it was.
Nice. Well, you're missing the Spurs opening game of the season to be here, so we do really appreciate that.
That's mental.
Well, yeah, it could be a blessing. Like that's how I'm.
Nah,
thinking
it's
about
not
it.
going to be a blessing. You're going to beat Leicester.
That's
man.
all right. But I mean,
Come on.
I know you don't like football chat.
Well, I was going to ask, has the Premier League started again?
Yeah,
Is that
we're
what
back.
it- oh, okay,
This weekend.
right,
We're
cool.
so
It's the
back.
first game of the season for like a huge Spurs fan. Like, I actually can't believe we put this on a Monday and like think we're getting away with that.
We're so back though. Yeah, the Prem's back. Before we jump into like the music stuff, we'll do that. But how do you feel about this season?
I think Ange was really found out at the second half of last season.
Oh, really?
Playing we can't defend set pieces. I was at Spurs Arsenal. You won 3-2.
3-2, yeah.
And it was like the first three. There's two of the three goals were embarrassing. I think there's one where Rice just chips it in, and is it Havertz who heads
Yeah,
it
just
in? And
nods
it's just
it in.
like that's such basic defending. Like it's exciting going forward. I think he just needs to have a plan B. But as I say, like I try not to let it affect me anymore. Like,
Yeah.
just try and enjoy. Like it's enjoyable to watch, and like after like years of Conte and Mourinho, just really dull football. That's really exciting. But yeah, no real expectations.
I know what you mean. Like when I was younger, like if Arsenal played on a Saturday and we lost, it would ruin my whole weekend.
Yeah.
I was like so invested.
The problem with Arsenal is I always try to walk it in.
Here he is.
That's the problem. That's the problem they have.
Here he is. Yeah.
It's like the girlfriend that's been like listening to something that.
Mate, I ain't got a Scooby what you man are on about. I really, Harry,
them in.
Yeah, Harry talks at me, and I'm kind of aware as to what's going on with Liverpool. Kind of when we get to like halfway through your season, sort of aware. And then things usually go a bit south for him, and he just gets really upset about it and kind of stops talking at me about it.
Yeah, I think just trying to avoid that sort of impact on my life on my weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys, I think you're going to win the league.
You know what?
Do you know what? I'm not.
Nah.
And that will hurt.
The
To
thing
be honest
is-
with you, that
the
would be
thing is,
worse.
He will
Yeah.
tell you. I've said it the last 2 seasons. Like I'm out here always on a positive.
He's Mr.
one.
Positive.
I am
Yeah, you
Mr.
are,
Positive.
you're very
I missed the realism.
And I'm
I
Mr.
actually-
completely
This
oblivious.
year, Mr. Realism. What you saying?
I'm
This year?
saying that on paper, City haven't got that much stronger this year.
They've also got older.
I mean,
Yeah.
they have De Bruyne for the whole season now, so that's obviously big difference.
33, you know.
Yeah, but they didn't have. They've lost Alvarez now. Who I think is actually. I know people saying he wasn't that good. I thought he was decent.
He's sick, man. Him
Obviously,
coming off the bench. That's
Yeah.
mental.
They signed obviously that Savio guy, but they haven't re-signed anyone else. So haven't got that. I mean, saying that we've only
Might get points deduction.
Yeah, someone was
couple
saying to me on
months.
Saturday, I can't remember who it was, they were like, yeah, but then like, whenever it happens, like September, October, 70-point deduction, all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're looking good.
And then probably Man United will win the league or something. Like,
Yeah.
something crazy will
No,
happen.
I don't know, man. I think we're going to be
Yeah.
difficult to beat this year. I
Yeah.
mean, he's bought another defender, and we had
That's
the
the
best
thing I don't
defensive
get.
record.
We've brought another defender.
I
We're already
actually
good
think
get
defender.
it, man.
Yeah.
I get it. I think I rate it. Like, shore it up some more. Why not? Like, we
You
didn't
can't
score-
play more than 4 defenders.
Yeah, I know, but it's good to have strength in depth. Think
Nah, I
about
hear that.
Zinchenko, a couple of shaky games.
Will you
cost
get
us some
Tony?
shit.
Like that seems like
Nah.
you don't think he's actually.
Arteta's all about this whole like culture
Yeah,
thing, and
that's what I
Tony
think.
is like the opposite of
Yeah, but
So Jack
he is
is-
just that.
Shall I go home?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is not a football podcast.
There's only so much we can talk about it.
Subscribers.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So those that don't like football, we're sorry.
Yeah.
Also, we haven't
we'll
actually
insert-
formally introduced our guest.
Yeah,
We're
just
gonna
some
have to put
random
like a
Spurs fan.
skip here bit, like in the bottom of the screen. Skip to this point.
Cut to 2 minutes 30 for music talk. It's of course Luke LSB. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
This has been a little while in the making. We spoke about it for a while. Glad we could finally make it happen. Also, good that we've seen you like in person in the last few weeks of festivals and stuff. So people are like, are we doing that thing still? So just off the back of hospitality, everyone was there.
Yeah,
it was
good.
Actually, we're all on the same stage as well. Yeah,
It was really good.
that was good.
It was a lovely vibe.
Dusty but sunny and vibes, I would say. How's festival season been for you, just in general?
Yeah,
anyway?
really good. I think so I did 3 at the weekend, which is very rare for me. I'm not that busy anymore. But I did hospitality. I did something called Medicine Festival on Friday, which was like an alcohol-free, very hippie vibe. It was really good. Like they reacted there's such amazing reactions to every tune.
Alcohol free, but like
I think there was some like elixirs and potions and
The whole my missus was going to go last year because she's like super into that like spiritual stuff, and Everwood was actually booked for it
he
last
played
year.
I mean, that sounds like a Woody festival.
It's basically like it's like shrooms, that kind of like that kind of vibe, which I kind of rate really.
So I didn't really know what to expect. So I spoke to Woody and he said it was a good vibe. And I've been at We Out here with the kids.
Yeah, that festival, that lineup was crazy.
Yeah, it was really good as well. And my daughter just breakdancing on stage.
Mate, that was really
She did it for like an hour and 15. I don't know where it come from. And she was like, the crowd were egging her on. And I think if she could have, she would have gone right out the front. I've got no idea.
She'd been watching the Olympics, mate. So
Yeah,
Ray
that's what
Gun,
it is,
yeah.
I think
she was better than
Probably better than Ray Gun, yeah.
so did this big medicine festival, but it was one of those where I was playing like, I don't know, 12:30 till 2. And I knew it was a long drive back, and I had a really early start for hospitality. And it was mad. I couldn't believe how big it was. Like, really, there was a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And a couple of things sprung to mind. So when I finished, like, really, like, proper 60s hippie girl come on, like, with a long flowing hair. Like, look something out of, you see, I don't know, from Forrest Gump when I had it. Like, real, like, cliched hippie.
Yeah.
With some candles out the front. And I was like, is anyone coming after me? And she's like, no, they're just going to do, like, an unplugged little sort of prayer or seance or something. So I had to wind down the music, and then everyone who'd been raving like gathered in, like around, like smuggled round her, and she just started like saying, like speaking really quietly, and they were just all really involved. And I was like, okay,
mad.
But then
proper mad.
I was parked, like, I don't know, like it was a good 25 minutes between the stage, and I was like, right, I'm just going to get out because I've got to get home. And it was one of those where I just got totally lost, went to the wrong gate, and then the guy that was there, I was like, how do I get to this other gate? And he was like, you're going to have to go back in or back out. And I said, well, can I just go on the road? So I ended up walking down this B road, like at, I don't know, 2:30 in the morning to find my car. And I was like, oh, this definitely ain't the one. I'm going to get mowed down or something's going to happen here. But yeah, just an interesting festival full stop. And
Nice.
that, and yeah, hospitality was wicked.
I've
You
not heard
guys
of
were
this one.
great.
Thank you,
Really
appreciate
good.
that. Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. We don't play
was-
that many sets together anymore, so it was nice to like.
We've been moaning about it, haven't we?
Yeah, yeah.
For some reason. And we're now back on the same agency as
Should
well,
be
so
easier,
hopefully it might, pick up a bit.
Yeah,
But it
was really. I was down amongst it for you guys. It's really good. And then
You know what? That was actually one
You
of the
were. I
questions.
saw
was
you down
gonna-
there quite a
yeah.
lot, actually, down in the depths.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask. If we're going to go down that route, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's
now,
tee it
yeah,
up.
do it now,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, because I saw you tweet about it the other day, or someone tweeted and you replied. Maybe it was El Hornet or something. That you guys were talking on Twitter about like you should be in the dance floor still.
yeah. So I think I'm out having a bit of a, I don't know. So I don't like to talk about COVID, but it always seems like a reference point in everyone's life.
Yeah.
It comes to the point where up to that, I was super busy. I had like a really nice work-life balance, and then suddenly like shit changed. I went back to work like full time, just pretty much straight away. I was like, I can't risk this. I've got 2 young kids, and then when it sort of started to come back, things had changed a lot. Like there was a big change, and I'm not a negative change. A lot of it was really positive change for what happened for drum and bass in terms of like its wide-reaching appeal. A load of new DJs that maybe like via TikTok or whatever or streaming had become popular, and I sort of come back, and I was working and I was doing a few gigs, and I was like, am I really enjoying this anymore? Like, and then I played a show, and I think you played it as well. Actually, I played in Leeds.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like-
Oh, that was that was such
I
a
was-
good show, actually.
yeah,
I
yeah,
really
right.
enjoyed that.
Was
I played with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
did
the
you
3 of
play-
us.
We were talking about the other day,
Yeah.
right about Henry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
I've spoken about that set quite a few times.
Really?
I'll
So
let-
I
I'll
feel
let
like-
you say
you
what
have
you need to
spoken. I've
say,
actually
go on.
heard this story. Yeah, go on.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
go on.
no, we'd like to hear your perspective.
Well, because
Go
my
on.
perspective is a bit different. Because I come off of it and like because Mosey was playing afterwards.
Yeah.
And like, I felt like I know like fair play, like, fellow Essex boy, like he's like a great personality. Music's not necessarily for me, right? But like I could see, I really like how he does what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was there and I was like, fuck that. Like, everyone's there like for him, and I felt like for the last like 20 minutes of the set, I felt really uncomfortable. I was like, oh, like I'm like I've always loved doing this, and I had like a real sort of bit of soul searching after it. Really, like, am I quite stubborn, like in terms of like the music I play, and always will be. I'm not going to change. Like things are changing, but I'm not going to change. And then I suppose like after that, I had like 6 months sort of lull where I felt like I wasn't enjoying shows or music, but then I like really realised like it's what you put in is what you get out, and I just wasn't putting it in. Like, I had other distractions. Like in just life stuff, and like the travel of a show when I had one would be long and it'd be after work and like shit like that. So I just really had a bit of a talk to myself like about like, you know, what are you like, why are you doing this? Like if you're not going to enjoy it, like there's other people that like probably deserve it more. If you don't just be miserable with it. You got like it's a real privilege to see these places, play these shows. You've got to be putting more in. So one of the things that I realised is that like I loved it. Like 20 years ago when I was first going clubbing, I would drive for hours to go to a show. I was in Norwich at uni. We'd come to London for like Rhythm Factory or like Ram at the end or Marky and Friends at the end. And I was like, I need to like reconnect with the whole thing again. Like get out there in front of the speakers, listening to tunes. And that's just like, just trying to reconnect over the last sort of year and 18 months. Just like, and yeah, and just really enjoying it, to be honest with you. Like taking away all the shit and just like, okay, I love the tunes, I love the music. Let's connect with the audience. Let's see how it feels. So yeah, I've just made a real conscious effort. Festival season, it's pretty easy to do it because you tend to be like you're either there and you're away and you've got a couple of days. So yeah, it's just and you know what? It's been really really positive experience, and I think it's still to the point where writing is like not where it should be. Like I'm not like. Music doesn't flow through me like some producers. I can't just get the computer and just write shit. Like it's like I have to build up into it. So I'm sort of like building my creative juices at the moment. I'm doing a lot of sort of sampling and getting myself prepared. And just like I just know at some point it will just come and then I'll start writing. But I'm not getting stressed by the fact that I'm not writing a lot at the moment. Whereas in the past it really would have stressed me out. I'd be like, fuck, I've got to keep going.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I just sort of realised like I'm probably like nearer the end than the beginning, and I just want to make the most of it, right? It's amazing to be doing what I'm doing, and like I can see it from my kids. They're like, oh, you get to see you've got fans. Like when it turned out at We Out Here on Thursday, I had my daughters, and Ivy was like, are you gonna have any fans here? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of other like DJs here, and I walked into the festival into like one of those vintage stores. And someone just randomly come up to me and was like, oh, you Luke? And Ivy was there, and you could see she was like so dead chuffed. And like,
So
yeah,
sweet.
and it's just like, so okay, like, and it's like this is a cool thing. So I'm just gonna like, I don't want to get to, I don't know, 10, 20 years time and have regrets that I was somewhere and then like just didn't give it my all. So yeah, that's it. So part of that is just being like enjoying the music again, and like it not being about me and not being about my career. Just to like build that like reservoir of like influences and creativity or whatever it needs. So yeah, that's why.
It's a refreshing take.
gonna-
You
yeah.
chose to like reconnect with the music in that way, really, because like, we kind of always been a bit like that, innit? Like we'd always have a little like vibe on the dance floor.
It's
One of
really-
my favourite moments actually this year was all of us on the dance floor. Like whose set was it we were watching?
Was it on the beach?
On the beach.
Yeah.
We were all at the beach stage.
At the beach. Yeah. Who was that?
We were all there together.
Was it? I remember Brian.
It might have been Brian's set. It was one of the. It was a V
Brian
night.
was
It was
one
a
of
V
them.
The V night,
It
yeah.
was
I
the
mean,
V-night.
I really let myself go.
But you came to the. He was at the after
I
party
come
when
to
we
the
were
after
playing.
party to see you as well.
Like
Yeah,
5
yeah,
a.m.
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Jokes. Yeah, that's it. That's what it's
Yeah.
about, man. I mean, I always have to have a little bop on the dance floor. I just like dancing.
Well, we were
generally.
there for Spectral Soul on Saturday, both of us.
I mean, that for me, like,
Yeah, you were loving it.
yeah, I really, really was. Like, I needed it. Yeah.
See, I saw
and
you guys down there in the depths of it all, and it was like the last 10 minutes of the set, and I'd been up behind Dave the whole set, on my own. Nobody came and like joined me for the duration of the. And I would have gone down there if I'd known you guys were down there. I'd have like, because there was a point where like I was getting like ushered away. I was like, no, don't usher me away from this. Like, once in a lifetime opportunity to see this guy play again. Like, fucking move me on.
You know my mate Jack, because he was like backstage and he only saw me near the end, and then he come out and he actually got some photo. He's got some epic photo.
I got jokes video of the brilliant video of the two of you. You are just in your element, loving it, Luke. Like, just vibing out. No, you're loving it. And then Stu's spitting one of his bars, Rich, and you're there, like, in the crowd. Going back to him, right? And then
his mate Ben in front of me doing the same thing.
Stu then moves away and like stops like acknowledging you and like moves on to some other crowd members. And you then carry on spitting the bars, but at Luke. And like turns around, looks at you, and just goes, no. Back in the moment, like, shut up, Rich.
His mate Ben as well.
He
was on it, bro. We were both having a little like call and response SP bars to each other. Because you literally turned to me and went, "Nah, trust me, he's got it on lock." And I was like, "Yeah, no, he has." Which I got love for, man. Obviously, Stu's appreciation. It's nice to see someone else appreciating the MC as much as I do. Like,
but that set in Leeds, the reason why we've spoken about it quite a lot on the podcast in the past is that I always said that that's a prime example of what a lot of these promoters, like you, booking you at that show is something that more promoters need to be doing, because there was a moment in your set, because we were driving back to London together.
Yeah, you were saying this on the way back.
I would have stayed anyway for the set, but I was there waiting for you, and so was just chilling behind you guys while you were rolling out together for the whole hour, spliff in hand, just doing my thing, and saw throughout that hour just little pockets of people where there'd be people kind of just vibing, chatting amongst themselves, and then someone in that group of 4 or 5 would suddenly just disassociate from their mates and just be fixated on what you were playing, and then just didn't lose focus for the rest of the hour.
See, I mean, that's because obviously your perception. Like, I think, like, it was for me. I was just like, as I say, quite a stubborn DJ in the sense that I'm just going to play these things, and I know sometimes it works and sometimes it don't.
Yeah.
And like you do sense like on events, I should lift my head a bit more because to actually look what's going on.
Hard to do that though, man.
I'm not super comfortable with being in front of a person.
I'm not super engaged with the crowd DJ.
It's humble quality.
It's just awkward, isn't it? I can't dance stuff, and like I try it like so, and I do like. When I do notice that people have lost in their moments, and one of the things that I have like always accepted, and I know it's like a sort of a reflection of me as well, is that like people don't have to be like going like hands in the air like crazy to be appreciating it. And in fact, like I feel like Del has a bar where he talks about like dance like no one's watching because no one's watching, or something to that extent. And I think that
where's it, Rich? You'll know it.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah,
you have to be more to work with than that.
And it is that sort of thing that it's like it's not about being seen. Sometimes like it sounds like I'm hating, I really ain't, but like sometimes a lot of it where it's really, really hectic and hands in the air all the time, it's almost like it feels like it's for everyone else. Whereas like I love just being lost in a moment.
Yeah.
Like when I like to me, like back against the wall in like room 2 fabric or something like that is just like ideal. Really hear the like sounds really good. It's got like no one's like really looking, and you can just get into it. And so like I know that I hope that that's what some people can have in my set, and I know that sometimes it might feel a little bit flat when something comes on and it's just fucking hectic, you know, like and a lot of it is. And like, don't get me wrong, like a lot of my first raves were like the 2003, 2004 sort of jump up era. So it's quite like the music's not actually like, it's quite similar to what's being played a lot of these sort of D&B All Stars. So like that's what I come up on. Like I've got some like you know, I've got Fast Car on vinyl and stuff. you know, like it's just that's the sort of thing, like loads of Twisted Individual and clips and stuff like that. So I'm not hating, like I found something that I preferred. But like it's no hate. I think it's like a real important part of this. It's like
it was a really good era, like that era of drum and bass. And like when early Jump Up, I look back at early Jump Up, and it's like some of the best D&B music was early Jump Up, man. Like
it's just like it was a part in time where like because drum and bass is always like a melting pot of like ideas, and that's like one of the things that makes it great. And so you have like that sort of jump up where it was all a bit wobbly, and it started to evolve into clown step, and that's when I was like, okay, it's a bit much. And like at the same time, I started promoting nights at uni, and I was booking like Calibre and High Contrast and Logistics and stuff. As that sort of like 2003, 2004, that sort of sound was pushing in, and that's what I really fell in love with. That's what made me want to make music and like feel like maybe I could. But yeah, it's just absolutely like no shade on. It's a broad church, right? And we have to be accepting it. Like we have to like embrace the fact that there's a lot of different styles and hope that we can all like join together and make the whole thing bigger for all of us.
This is how we all got into drum and bass anyway, right? I've said it so many times. My first final was Distorted Minds T-10.
Oh yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I'd have got that one, of course.
Yeah, like we all came in through that.
We're really similar eras, all of us.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I know a little bit older, but like
I like
still.
the first drum and bass tune that I like obsessed over was Clip's Slippery Slope, and then a month later, the
Big
first
tune.
vinyl I buy is High Contrast Return of Forever.
Yeah.
Like how far apart could you get? Like at that point, like, and I'm obsessed with it all now. I want to hear it all.
Not all of it.
No, I want to hear it all.
It's like
I want to hear it all. I might not like it all, but I want to hear it all.
It's
No,
like-
you're pretty easy. You're pretty good with that. You're not too
I'm
chin
diplomatic.
shaky. Yeah.
Diplomatic, yeah. That's the way to put
Is
it.
that it trying to get booked?
Yeah.
trying to get cancelled.
No, bro. I'm out here pushing for that Radio 1 like slot when it finally there's a new spot for a new host at some point in the future. That's me, bro.
Okay.
Get that BBC money.
Well, I saw, was it you that tweeted about the Radio 6 thing as
Yeah,
well?
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a great shout, by the way.
Yeah.
I remember someone had said it to me, and I think I referenced to it, but like I feel like there's like a big space for it, because like for years Fabio and Groove and Friction were really broad with what they especially when you had Fabio and Groove Rider like playing off each other. Like I can distinctly remember the first time I heard True Romance was driving home from a rave like on the Fabio show and just being like, what is this? What is this tune? The same for Lovesick by High Contrast. Like they were like really important moments to me in like the musical journey, was like listening to that show. It was on a really good time if you was coming home from a rave or something. And then like Groove, yeah, he might rewind like Odyssey like 10 times in his show or whatever, but that's Groove. And it was just like, that was the other side of things, because you had this like musical thing and you had Groove. And now like I think Charlie represents like quite a lot, but there's obviously like a big like drum and bass is effectively at number 1 in the charts.
Yeah, which is mad. Yeah.
Which is mad, and I'm like, it's like it's got some positive things about it, but like I do think that there's like a lot of pop music with just drum and bass beats at the moment.
Yeah.
And you do one
it's
like that where it's not even really in the scene. Like you do wonder if it's going to do like a 2013 dubstep or something, and just like
that's what I was about to say.
like just pop. But like, so it's I think like my wife's stepdad were talking about it at family barbecue. So like, drum and bass is number 1. So it's cool in that front, but that obviously means that like the drum and bass representation on Radio 1 is like naturally leaning towards something that's maybe a bit more commercial. So if someone could be just like pushing
The underground stuff.
like,
just not neglecting it.
like just I don't think it'd be cool, and Radio 6 seems like a
100%,
good place to do it. I don't know if it will like if something like that would happen and how it happened, but there's also loads of
Sherelle's got a show on there, right?
yeah, she's
So you can. It's not a million miles away to say like someone.
No,
I don't
not
know
at all,
who would do it. Like, yeah, we could think of like 10
Fabs and
people
Groove
who
Rider.
could probably represent that.
Fabs and Groove Rider.
well, Flight had an amazing show as well.
Yeah.
One extra.
Yeah.
That was one
stuff.
extra,
Like,
wasn't it? Yeah.
I'm sure there's like plenty of people.
We
that-
mentioned like New Tone Logistics a little while back. Do you remember when we were talking about radio show host? You remember that?
Did we?
That's,
I think you said that.
Yeah.
This is a long time ago. That's a
Yeah.
cool.
Well, you guys are sort of teeing
Yeah.
yourself up for it a bit.
I don't want to say it.
Yeah, you
I
got the
didn't wanna
media
say it.
stuff.
Yeah,
You're
this
comfortable
is the
in front of-
platform we jump off of. Imagine us for a Radio 6.
Well, that's how like Rene
Got no
Levice
place
got his
on radio.
slot on
Yeah.
Radio 1 was from his
Ain't having
podcast.
me.
I'll be honest. One of my long-term visions for this podcast was that we eventually get a Radio 1.
I would
slot.
love to get a radio show. It'd
be incredible.
Like, yeah.
Nah, but it has to be like national radio. Otherwise, what's the
John's
point?
not messing about.
What's the point? We've already got a show on like Cool and Rinse. Like that's fine. Do you know what I mean? But like, shout out Cool, by the way. Get myself chucked off of there. Yeah.
Joke.
How is it over there now? Is it like,
Yeah, you know what? I really enjoy it when I go into the studio.
yeah,
Well, what I don't really enjoy is doing mixes at home, just like on Ableton. Like that's just like that just feels like work, isn't it? But like, when I'm actually in the studio, you just get a vibe. Like when you're in, you get a vibe.
You'll play things that you wouldn't play.
Yeah.
Like if you do it in Ableton, you're going to put predictable, obvious things in. But if you're there on the fly, like you do when you DJ, like the more planning you do,
it's just way more fun.
Yeah, you're
like,
going to have perfect blends, but you're not.
Yeah, and it's like warts and all in it. You fuck up, it's done in it. Like you're there for whatever it is, the length of the show.
Yeah.
I love a studio mix, man. For me, like, you know, I'm sure we'll come on to yours, but like even like a studio mix or like a radio record in that environment, it's just a really nice place for me to be as an MC, because I just feel like there's not going to be no like sound issues. You're going to be heard. You can actually like lace a message together. It's much more of a journey in that instance. Like when I've come on and hosted for you and stuff, like. Or when we've done mixes
and you
together.
like bounce off each other as well when you're in the studio. That's what I like about it.
I just think if you're going to tell a story as an MC, that environment is where when someone actually listens to that, they'll actually be like, fucking hell. Yeah. Like, I can actually, this guy's actually talking like depth and, you know, like just more than what you're going to get in a live set when every now and then someone's going to make some noise or like whatever, you know. It's like there's actual like substance, something to, I don't know, hold on to.
Well, I think as well, like that. If you think about like the legendary MC sets from the 90s, a lot of them are Cool FM at that time or Prophecy. Like, is it like the Fearless, Skibber and Det one that's really like, I can't remember. There's one like from like 97, 98.
I think I know the one you mean, yeah.
Like, it's just like legendary. And like, because often then like the tape packs, the MCs would sound really echo. You wouldn't be able to actually hear it. It would be on like definitely on Cool that a lot of these MCs would make their name to an extent.
Yeah.
Or people would learn their lyrics at that point, and then when it go to the show, they'll sort of know it because they could hear it properly.
That's exactly it. Yeah. No, it definitely works as a format for an MC. I've actually got a residency as well.
Any more self-promotion? Or?
A little bit, yeah. Well, that's it. That's all.
Yeah, you see, you wouldn't be allowed to do this on Radio 1.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be cancelled.
It's advertising.
I don't know how long I got one for, but yeah, Jess has actually hooked me up.
Nice.
Can't wait. It's going to be fun.
No exclusive.
You can come guest DJ for me, John.
So just quickly, while we're speaking on the guest mix thing, right, and we were talking about drum and bass, the 2013 dubstep boom, like that kind of... There was one UK number one in the dubstep thing. And like, we've had like 3 or 4 DJ Fresh Louder.
I don't think D&B's getting popped anytime soon, man.
I don't know, man. We've had 3 UK number ones in 6 months. We've had Disconnect.
No, I mean popped as in the bubble get burst. Like, I think it's here to stay.
Oh yeah.
They didn't get to number one.
Nah, they didn't.
This is the first ever number one.
No, Badadan got to number one.
Nah.
I swear Badadan got to number one in the UK.
Not in the national charts.
Oh man, I'm gonna need to check that.
Check it. Yeah.
I thought that was what was so wild about it
as well.
Yeah, I thought that this was.
And I really, I mean, obviously Stormzy is like the biggest UK artist. True, so.
What, and that's the first number one? Yeah,
it's not.
Do you know, that's the other thing that annoys me about these things is, as a D&B MC.
I knew you.
Yeah, but it's true though. Literally, as this all gets bigger,
an MC,
everyone's like, oh, fuck these D&B artists. We'll just work with people from different genres and then make a pop banger. Like, that's something that doesn't particularly...
I don't know how you feel about this, but my take on, I think me and Jack spoke about it on the way back from Hospitality in the Woods, actually. The thing I think is okay with like grime and drum and bass coming together again is that they kind of started in the same place. So I feel like when grime MCs jump on, it's not that much of a stretch.
Well, yes,
you know what I mean?
For UK music for a start.
I think
I'll give you
20 years ago, like everyone was listening to like Dizzy Rascal was a drum and bass DJ, DW was a jungle MC. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like their roots are really close.
I think one of the like nice things that's come out of like the last 5 years, and I do feel that MCs are still on the whole like underappreciated in drum and bass, but I do think there's been like a wave towards them. I think Hospital themselves have had like a few, and there's a few like there's more talent coming through because I think like someone like Dizzy, like idolised Skibber, and like I think part of it is he saw that like Skibber had a couple of goes commercial and they never worked right, and they never really reflected him particularly as like how talented he was because he was amazing. And I think Dizzy, like, he didn't see like the drum and bass idol to aspire to, and there's this new music that was popping off, and like it became a route for him to become like a number one artist or a top selling artist. Did he win a Mercury or something? And
he did. When he was super young. Yeah,
that just didn't seem like drum and bass was supporting its own at that time. Its acts to do that really, and now it's like sort of. I feel like it's changing, and you got a lot more like vocal focused drum and bass. I did see that like a Love Islander has covered Barcelona.
Oh,
You've seen
we
this.
got sent
not
this on
talking-
promo.
You've been no,
promo,
like,
yeah.
what an absolute insult.
Yeah, and it's disgusting as well. It's terrible.
I mean, I haven't spoken.
Shouldn't have been done in the first place, but it's also terrible.
I don't think there's anything you can do to stop it. I meant to speak to
Yeah.
Stammer about it on Saturday to get his vibe. I was just like, fuck, like that. Like,
Yeah.
like if anything's going to pop the bubble, it's that.
Yeah,
shit, right?
yeah.
Innit?
Is
Like,
Dick and Dom
Just
are now drum bass
rehashing.
DJs, or so are they, or something?
just like, yeah.
I'm pretty
Like,
sure.
But to be fair, I think there's clips of them
Back
on
in
the
the day.
internet like 5-6
Oh,
years
fair.
ago
Okay,
doing that as
fine,
well.
fine,
So it's
fine.
a little bit, yeah.
Secret Heads, like that,
Yeah.
that BBC News.
Yeah, yeah,
guy,
News-
innit?
yeah, right, yeah.
That was cold, to be fair.
I feel like we can't. We were talking about mixes for a bit. I feel like we need to talk about.
Well, I was building up to it,
Yeah,
but
I
you just
know,
want to
but-
jump straight
Yeah,
in. We
but
can
like, I
jump.
feel like this is the point. Maybe.
You know
I
what's
don't know,
funny
I could be
actually?
wrong.
Like I did this prep before. Like in your first like 5 minutes of what you were saying, you kind of like touched upon like 4 or 5 things. So in my mind, I was like,
Yeah.
which route do we go down?
Okay,
Let's go
yeah.
down the Space Age mix because
Yeah, come on. What's
in like the last and one of our episodes we're going to do probably will be our favorite mixes of all time, right? So we've done this. The first Patreon episode was top 10 liquid tunes between 2010 and 2020.
yeah, is this the thing that you've seen some
Oh
clips
yeah, where I
about?
stole your
Yeah.
mix. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
That was it from that one.
You know what's funny actually? Lucy came up to me on Saturday and was like, "Oh yeah, I heard you stole Luke's mix." I was like, "It's like 10 years ago, Lucy."
Yeah,
man."
I
Like-
can't- do you know what?
That's why we didn't see you in the booth on Saturday because you're in the crowd just like.
Just with a pen and pad. Like.
It's just got the bongo in it in conversation.
Yeah,
It sort of
yeah,
goes
yeah.
over it. I can't remember. You said it's a fabric
I'm
mix.
pretty,
I'm
you
not.
know what? My mate Hallam, he may have, I can't even met him or not. He
Hallam is like an encyclopedia.
also, he's like an
isn't it? It's
encyclopedia,
mad.
and he loves that mix, that specific mix as well. And I'm pretty sure he said it was a fabric one.
Yeah,
So
I
I
don't-
believe if he says it, it's probably true.
Yeah, I mean, you got better memory than me about
He's going
it.
to trust Hallam's opinion
Nah,
on,
bro,
on,
nah.
on an LSB
Nah,
mix over
nah.
LSB.
No, he does say the same thing.
Yeah.
He's just finding it funny.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
literally
nah.
said it. You're backing
Yeah,
Hallam as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Everyone's backing Hallam.
Everyone's backing
Encyclopedia
Hallam.
of
Respect
drum bass.
Hallam.
Yeah.
I remember once,
love Hallam.
just a side note, I remember once SP came round, Hallam's in Bristol for like, but we had a show somewhere in Bristol and SP came round and obviously Hallam, massive garage fan, isn't he? And then obviously just them two together, I was just like, it's just like the garage, like
It's like,
Titans.
it's like they're
colliding.
babysitting each other. You can just kind of like fade off and go do your own thing now.
yeah.
Be like, my work here is done. I introduced them.
He's proper Rain Man about it, yeah. But yeah, Space Age. Well, firstly, that fabric mix, that Rain of Ice, Walking Blues. I think that's the first time I ever had Walking Blues. So that is why I was like,
Levels.
yeah, when's that tune coming out? I remember I tweeted you like 10 years ago, be like, when's this tune coming out? I don't think I'd have released it at that point. So yeah. Actually, whilst we're talking about throwback LSB stories, also I remember, I think I was talking about you, Jack, about it the other day.
What?
It was when you and Harry played at Hospitality 338. This was years ago. And I'm pretty sure you were playing. This is maybe like 10 years. No, it wouldn't be like-
338.
yeah, like 338, like 8 years ago. It was like Pola and Bryson just had maybe released like 2 or 3 tunes. Anyway, it was either me and Harry or me and someone else were in the smoking area, and we just got chatting to Lucy like randomly. And we were like, just basically said, "Oh, we're so excited to see LSB play. It's like our favorite artist." And then she just started laughing. So I asked my husband, like, "You can introduce you if you want." Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I mean, that's the first time I met you. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
was that
So sick.
338.
Mate,
I
it was
remember. I
338.
remember the first night, but I
And
can't.
they had that like weird smoking area at the top. Do you remember like the weird little smoking area at the top of
Yeah,
338?
yeah,
it was in
yeah.
there. Yeah, I remember it really vividly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It must have been like
So
20.
it's sort of outside, sort of not.
It's
It's like
semi-indoor,
weird, isn't it?
semi-outdoor.
Yeah.
I would have guessed it was. What was the other like? It weren't Fabric, but it was run by Fabric in like Docklands.
Matter.
Oh no! You mean
Buildings. No.
what's it called?
Yeah, it was. It was Matter, and then it became Building 6.
Yeah, I thought it was
yeah.
there. No, but it's,
No, it was 338. Yeah, it's so funny. I just remember that. Yeah, that's the first one I met you and Lucy.
Big
There you
up
go.
Lucy.
I
Yeah,
remember.
big up Lucy as
I remember-
well.
Yeah, big up Lucy. Yeah, she was there Saturday. I remember one hospitality. I was meeting Lucy. It was at Building 6. I just remembered this, and I was meant to bring her something for her outfit, and I forgot. And I met her like at the guest list. And she was like, "Have you got your thing?" I'm like, "Fuck, I forgot." And she just couldn't hide the disgust at me on her face. And it's Ali from Hospitality just sort of got it. And I was just like sheepishly walking in. He just knew I was in trouble, right? Oh, yeah.
But she's been ahead for like.
A little longer than
Longer
me.
than you,
She'll,
right?
she'll
Yeah.
tell. Yeah. So we
I
felt like my first rave was with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'd been going a lot. Yeah, and she loves to come. It's obviously hard with 2 kids, but she come on Saturday. She's going to come for one night at Cellar Base.
Nice.
So yeah, just try to like she kept having like raving retirements, but she's like keeps coming out of them. But yeah,
Little comebacks,
Yeah.
I was talking to her about the Sun and Bass thing, so I was like, one night I was like, that's mad. I was like, need to get this baby sitting collective on the go, so that everyone can go for a few nights.
Well, it
like,
made me. I would like my kids are really gutted they can't go, but like one of them,
School, I guess.
yeah, one of them moves up to
oh yeah, that
like
was what she was
juniors,
saying.
and one
Yeah.
starts. He's just like missing school early in 2 new schools.
Yeah.
Can't
It's
really
not-
do it.
So she's going to be like, and she was like, oh, I can't go for one night. And I was like, if you think about it, it's like sort of what I do a lot anyway, just go in and out for a
Yeah.
day, and at least you get to see everyone. So yeah, it'd be cool.
Yeah, all my teacher mates always like drum and bass, always just so good. They can never go because it's like literally first week of term. It's like,
Yeah.
It's mad timing for that, innit? Like for all of
Yeah.
the festivals to be like in term time, especially when you would think that actually of all the festivals you go to, that's probably the one that leans most towards the older crowd.
Yeah,
that have got
yeah,
kids.
it's
Yeah, I
true.
suppose it's just like this high seat. They can't get the venues or the hotel.
Yeah.
Like it's just busy anyway. You have to get
It's like
it
just out of
slightly out.
season, so yeah,
Yeah.
they'll be all right with having a drum and bass festival. Anyway, Space Age Mix. Let's talk about Space Age Mix. So, I mean, you want to lead this off? You obviously want to bring it up, mate. So.
I just think, yeah, I'd love to know like how that sort of like the inception of it, how it came about, and just props to you and Del for literally doing. Realistically, for me, like I'll put my neck on the line and say like that's the greatest mix series of all time.
Oh, thank
for me
you.
personally, like I do genuinely think.
I can't really think of a better one off the top of my head.
No,
to be
I
fair.
From a
You can't,
DJ and
yeah.
MC perspective, the way it comes
Yours
together,
and
like,
Lensman's mixes, like those were the two that really like solidified it for me. Like,
And you got to shout out Bookham and Comrades.
Of
Yeah.
course,
Oh, yeah,
of
like
course.
that's
Like
like
the
that.
modern-
Yeah, like the modern, yeah, the
No,
modern era.
of course.
Yeah.
But even I just mean no. I'll take any era. For me personally,
Fair.
that's it.
Oh,
It's done.
well-
Like the selection and MC and DJ ability all common. Like there's nothing better than that for me. Like
So it's sort of obviously I first played out with Del at a Solution at Band in the Wall, and it was really cool, and we got on well. And then we've obviously wrote some music together, and then we went to Japan, we did a Japan mix, and Del was like, look, I want to do a mix series, call it Space Age, just do it. So it's really like, so a lot of it's on Del, and obviously like, I've got the easy part, right? Like I just select 20 odd tunes, put them together. Del's then got to write bars, and he writes a lot of fresh stuff. A lot of it then becomes other tunes because he sort of does it. But yeah, I mean, it's probably one of like my favourite things that I've been a part of, and I listen to the mixes. Like I like if I'm going for a run or something, I might put one on because I know I'm going to like the music, and I love Del's bars in them. So yeah, I just love doing them.
it honestly inspired me to a new writing technique that I found super productive. That was because we started like in real, like, you know, being real. We kind of were like, okay, that's inspiring us to be basically
Like I said,
our
it
own
was
mix series.
You and Del, Lensman and Steezo,
Yeah.
were like of the like modern era. Those were the two like
Yeah.
DJ MC
Yeah.
like series. I was like, that's a sick thing to do. So
But
yeah.
up until then, I'd done hundreds of mixes, but I'd always put bars on tunes. But I could just tell by listening to this, I was like, he wrote that to that.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't, you know, I know people obviously write to mixes and they do it, but I don't think many mixes prior to that. I think people would have found ways. Obviously, some are, you know, older ones are recorded live and stuff, all done a bit differently depending on what stage of technology we're at. But I think a lot of modern day mixes around that time, people would just be like, I've got that bar, it will go to that tune. I certainly was. And I think most MCs probably were. And I could just tell from those mixes, and it literally made me think 100%, that's the way to go. Because if you're writing something specifically for that blend or for that tune, it's obviously going to be like perfect. The same way that like I've got a bunch of lyrics I've written to Walking Blues. So when it comes on, I'm like, okay, which 3 or 4 am I picking, you know? Because you just know it's going to work. And it leveled up my mix game so much.
And your bars have become a bit more introspective and personal over the years as well. And I think like Del sort of led the way in sort of drum and bass for that, like massively.
100%.
And I think, so yeah, I think, and so I, like the process is that I sort of sketch out a rough mix, and then he goes through it one tune at a time, writes. He's obviously got like a bit of a theme throughout the things, and like the sentiment will obviously like reflects like how he is at the time or whatever. But yeah, it works really well. And so So when we do these sort of space age live sets, so at the moment we're doing one where it just takes from the six mixes, it sort of takes like a few tunes from each, but in order,
cross-section of them, yeah.
and he does the same bars and I do the same mixes, and
Sick.
it goes down really, really well, and it's quite naturally the mixes are quite deep, so it's quite a deep thing for a club, but it's just like it's a totally different thing to what's sort of around, and then the crowd have got that sort of familiarity with it. Like they sort of know what. When we first did it at Fabric, people
It's almost like
were
going to see a play or something.
Yeah. Like people first did it at Fabric, like people were sort of like singing Del's bars at him if he was like off a beat or like because they knew what was coming because they heard the mixes so much.
Yeah.
So we got like a 90-minute to 2-hour slot that we're doing, and we're going to do it. I think hopefully at Sun and Bass.
Sick.
And then when we come around to play a couple of shows in October, like we'll try and do a new mix before and like bring some of that in and like switch up the show a bit. Although it's just a lot on Del. It's easy for me. I've got my tunes in a playlist. He's got to remember 2 hours of bars.
I mean, from a DJ perspective, what I like about it as well is and I think your live show's a bit like this as well. And it's going to sound like I'm empowering you, but it's not. Your mixes are slow.
Oh yeah, you're completely conscious.
That's what I like about it though.
Yeah.
Like every time I see you DJ, like the pace is just so nice, and you kind of like it does two things. Right, obviously makes the selections way more important because there's nowhere to hide if you're only playing 15, 20 tunes in an hour.
Yeah.
And if 2 of them are bad, then it's like you've ruined 10% of the set already. So I guess for like young DJs, take note there is a skill to that, like a real skill to that. And I guess for the MC thing as well, it just lets you like tell more of a consistent story as well, right? Because everything's not changing every 16 bars. Yeah.
Hearing you say that is just like beautiful, man, because I just feel like that is something that is totally being lost at this moment in time. In the deeper realms of D&B, I even speak to the jump up guys. They're like, it's all about drop clips. People just want the drop clips. Like the jump up guys used to be the guys. They were like the forefront, and now it's not like that in the jump up scene. I remember talking to Shotter. He was like, brother, it's changed our side as well. And I was like a bit in disbelief because I'm not that connected with what's going on there. But to hear him say that was just like really disheartening. And like, because it's like, oh, even the guys who are actually like the bar, like the guys
MCs who are
barring.
headlining shows. And
yeah,
stuff.
they were like, they were probably getting paid more than the DJs back in the day, And it's like, he's just like, nah, even that now is just completely flipped. So it's like,
well, see, because the DJs are so like it's intense that there's just no space for the MC.
And there's always fake drops as well. That's another problem as well.
I mean, it's like it's very constant. Like I could the technology's there to mix fast, right?
Yeah.
But I take my time with it. Also, like I kind of make it a bit not intentionally difficult, but I don't use cue points. I don't I use the platter like a vinyl. So I often I've got tunes where I've got no hi-hats in the intro, and I'm like, it's a bit stressful. Like I mix it, but it creates like an element of chaos. So I regularly fuck up mixes, right? I regularly clang it up because I'm not it's not particularly planned, and I'm just sort of going with the flow. And I like that. I think in some sort of live performance, there needs to be an element of chaos, even in my part, to know that it can go wrong. And then when it goes right, it feels great for me, and hopefully there's some sort of connection with it.
Yeah, I hear that, man. Yeah.
It's just I just think, because I do look. Some people can do have impeccable sets that are really planned, and it sounds really nice, and it's really, really professional. But I just still like that element of, I don't know, just that it could go wrong, and I think the crowd could sense that, sense the stress on my face, right? Like it could go wrong.
I love hearing a correction in a set.
I'm
sorry. I was like,
You must have loved me DJing on Saturday,
whipping it in and being like, go on, you can do it. And it's like,
but then when there's a point where the clang goes over too long,
you just cool.
That was me on Saturday.
Were you having one of those? Was you?
Oh mate, yeah. But this is similar thing. We could just turn on sync. I know how to use it, but I don't. It's not even
not
exactly. That's what it is. It's not even
fun.
I won't do it because I'm better than that. It's just it suddenly isn't fun. It suddenly becomes something that anybody could step up and do.
Yeah.
But almost like the clang is necessary for me to be like, yeah, I'm here, and I fixed that. I did fuck it up as well, but I also fixed it.
If someone's left sync on, I'm a bit freaked out because I'm never quite sure how to turn it off, and you have to get the slider.
That's the only thing I know.
That messed me up bad one time actually.
Fucked me up so many times.
I remember it was a recorded Shogun set, and I can't remember who was on before, but basically, when not all of your tunes are some are 174 and some are 87. Yeah. With sync, obviously, if you've got the master on the 87 one or something, basically it can double the other tune to 348. So I remember once I put another tune and loaded up and it just double mid mix was double speeded. I was like, yeah,
that's a horrible one. Speaking of I had a bit of a DJ. This is like a DJ stress stream. Right? So I had Liquidity on a month ago or 6 weeks ago, and they were like, it's being filmed, it's gonna be drone. Do you mind if we put it on live? And so I'd been playing shows with Del before, which obviously they're planned, and I don't usually plan my set, but it means that I'm I know what I'm doing. so I hadn't really sorted my USBs out for a while. So I was like, right, Liquidity, I'm going to get a load of new tunes, play like loads of no Liquid. Like, took 2 USBs, got them ready, and Fracture was playing before, and it was so hot in this greenhouse. I put my first one in, and it was like format USB. I was like, fuck. Put my second one in, it was like format USB. And I was just
literally the DJ recurring.
and I was just like, oh my God. And I'm like scrapping around my back, and I had like 2 old USBs. I was just like, all right, like, please work. And so I got that one. I just got through the set, but like I hadn't, like it completely like threw me for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I had this idea of playing a certain way, and then I was just like, right, I'm just back to an old, like, just got to go through. And in the end, it like went down all right because I had some old, like, sort of more classic-y tunes in there. But for like 15 minutes, mate, I was.
But you know what? I won't name names, but we all know there's like a bag of DJs that we could think of off the top of our heads who couldn't do that. Like they turn up and go, I haven't got that pre-planned set that like I've meticulously worked out. I'm fucked.
It's a really good
I think we spoke about it before, but I find it magic when someone's only got like 100 tunes in their USB.
Mate,
that's ridiculous.
But some people have that.
It needs to be 4 digits.
I see like 700. I'm there with like 2,300.
Yeah, that's like, what are you not doing? 4 digits every time.
I'm not even a DJ.
Yeah,
like,
that blows my mind.
I'm ready to go.
Someone said to me on Saturday, like, I can't remember who else, but what was it? Some festival recently anyway. Another DJ was saying, I didn't realize my set was longer than it was actually planned. So I was like, I hope I've got enough tunes on my USB. And I was just like, wait,
what?
Yeah. That's mental.
You're not a DJ at that point.
The fact that they used to sell record bags and boxes, without wheels on, just a single handle strap, and that could contain 60 records in alone, means that like you need like hundreds of tunes on your USB. There's no excuse for it anymore. It's literally in your pocket, man.
Yeah, I do. The plans like that, people that have, and there are DJs that like have this like strict hour, and I think you talked about it in the last podcast, where someone was like, right, I'm ending at an hour and that's it. Like that's weird. One, like I always want to play longer. If the option's there, right? Like I always want to play. I'm always, an hour's not really enough.
No.
And 2, I just think it comes to the point where it's like if it's all that tight, like you kind of like AI can replace you at that point, right? Like, so
let's not be that generous. A Spotify playlist could replace.
Blend on there as well.
But again, it's just like I suppose it's like there is a like professionalism that's come into drum and bass or whatever that's like adapted things where it just can't be like the rag set where people like if they go and see like I don't know Hybrid Minds or whatever, they expect a certain thing and they've got to deliver to that audience.
And we're not in that position though where we to be fair, like
thing is your mixing is clean, like super clean, and you're not like overcomplicating it. Like the set you done on Saturday was so sick, man. Like Jack actually said probably like one of the biggest compliments I've ever heard anyone say is that he was like, feels like Luke's like the embodiment of like what like Marcus used to be. You know, like Jack's obviously like a super head, and I know he came and said it to you, didn't he? And that was like making me like emotional because it's like he's right, man. Like there's a level of like there's the integrity, you know, like not trying to overcomplicate things, like doing what you love, like doing it for all the right reasons, you know. And I think, you know, even in the world we're living in currently, which isn't, you know, you said you're a stubborn DJ, right? I mean,
and obviously, like Marcus was a big inspiration and influence on me, and like one of the things that I loved about him was obviously, I mean, he was like another level of stubbornness to me. But like, and it's nice that he should say something, and I'm not great at taking compliments, to be honest with you, or praise, but like I can get to the point now where that's a nice thing that they've said, and like, I appreciate it. I know no one's ever gonna like come close to replacing Marcus and what he did like for the scene and just generally like just his ethos in music, but like I think that like maybe a bit of it rubbed off, and he was that DJ that could play anything. He probably by like his own admission, sometimes he was so incredible, other times it might be like, okay, it hasn't worked, because he'd be trying things, and that's what I do like so I'm more accepting of the fact that it doesn't, like, not everything has to be like a complete smasher. And I think again, like in the more sort of professional side or whatever, the more, I don't know, hedge fund D&B, you know, like where the money is, you're probably under a lot of pressure to deliver, and you probably can't like stray and experiment. Like I'm always happy to like try a tune out if I'm unsure of it, just because like sometimes in that sort of on loud monitors in a club environment, that's when you really know. And sometimes there's tunes where I was like, sometimes when you're not sure about things and you play it out and you're like, no, this is sick. It just sounds so great in the club. And then other times it'll go opposite and you just feel like, oh, I've got to mix out of this quick. But that sort of like stress and chaos is like cool because you get an opportunity to test things out, and that's where you might find like the gem or a new sound or something that's a bit different that really works.
The best mixes every DJ's ever done are the ones that are off the cuff.
Yeah, I think so.
Like literally, you don't get a better feeling when a double, like you just decide to do a double last second and it just really works.
Yeah.
That's literally the best fit. I think personally for me, that's the best feeling of like, be it like that set we always talk about. The set
I know you're exactly the one you're going to talk about.
Because it's a back-to-back as well, you can't plan it. So
it's just got to be.
You play something, I play something.
True, Global Love.
Like all of these
that
mixes
one,
that we did on that mix.
mate.
So it's just like,
Did that work well, did it?
yeah, it was.
Okay.
You wouldn't think
treat.
a 4-man back-to-back would be that good, but yeah.
We were all really, really smashed. Are we sure it was that great?
Yeah.
Mate, the recording still vibes.
The
man. I put it on a couple
I
of
think the
times.
recording says it all,
I'm just
mate.
speaking for myself.
Yeah.
It's harder to be drunk with a mic in your hand than it is on a
It's more obvious. It's more
Trust
obvious.
me.
More obvious.
And like just one final thing on Space Age because we all digress.
Yeah.
But like one of the nice things about it is people send me tunes now, and like they'll be like, this is and I think this is like a Space Age type of tune.
Oh, what,
and
for
like,
the label?
Yeah, or
Oh,
like for the
really?
mixes and like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know in Mind State, I played it on Saturday. It's called like Space Notes or something. They're like, I think it's really
Bit on the nose.
and it's,
Bit on the nose,
yeah, but
yeah.
it's just like like I'm sure that won't be the lot, but it's just and it's just
Yeah.
I love it, and it sort of captures like a lot.
Oh,
of
you
things I love.
reposted it on your Instagram, didn't you?
Yeah, I
saw a
just
story.
love it. I absolutely
Yeah.
love it. And it's like, I don't know, like maybe it's like playing to my ego or whatever. But like, it's obviously because it's a reflection of my musical taste. And if people feel like it might sit in that set, then I'm probably going to like it.
I mean, to be honest, I can't remember if it was mix 1 or 2, but Astral Travel by Bungle, the reason I love that tune so much is because of that. I mean, it kind of gave it a different context for me. Like,
Yes, two, that is.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous
so,
song.
yeah,
Yeah,
like-
number 2 is ridiculous.
yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't talk about your own, but I do like, I can't.
Number 2's the best one.
Yeah, I think two or.
2, then 1 for me.
It's true, like, yeah, 2. I think 2 is probably. There's parts of 3 that I like. During lockdown, I was running to a lot. Yeah, there's part like I think in the show that we're doing, we like do quite a bit of 1 and 2, and then the bits of like 6. There's a bits of all of them, but like
Yeah.
quite a bit of 1 and 2, like including that bit with Astral Travel and like.
Mate, yeah,
That bit's
unbelievable.
Mad.
That bit. Yeah.
Mad.
Yeah. I did just want to talk about Marcus a little bit. Obviously, you got a solar tattoo. Only tattoo is that?
A wedding ring.
Okay, 2 very important ones. I mean, you kind of touched on it already about like kind of what his ethos was about, but I did just want to know, like, what was it linking up like linking up with him for the first time? Because obviously at that point you're like a huge fan.
Yeah.
And I guess like what were the biggest things that you kind of learned from him as well?
So the first time was a strange one. For first time, he played at Bounce, which is my night in Norwich. And that was about 2007, and we just chatted a bit. He did, like classic, like sort of Mark. Something had gone on with his car, and he was just sort of moaning about his car. and then in it would have been about 2012, I'm going to say, a guy called Stu Master, who ran a label called Deep Soul Music. He used to like DJ in Oxford. He knew Marcus a little bit from playing golf, and he was like, "Oh, we're going to meet up and play golf, like for the 3 of us." And Marcus was playing at Fabric, and I was like, "Oh." And then Stu Master pulled out, and I was like, "Do you want to still play anyway? You're playing at Fabric. You can stay at my house." So he stayed at my house, and I remember one night in the morning, before he was going to play golf, Lucy was like, "Marcus Intalex is in my shower. That's weird." And then so we played golf, and his first tee shot, he was just like, no, like really like Mancunian talking to his golf ball. And then so then I have like first like year or so, I was just playing golf. We just played golf, and like didn't like we knew. We talked about music, but I was definitely not going to be like that bait guy who was like, make tunes or like I didn't want to
drop this USB.
Yeah, I'm not weren't going to be that because like not only that, like in 4 hours of golf, you got a pretty good idea if you like someone, and it was like okay, we clearly like got on pretty well, just chatting about like stuff, and then about a year or so later, he was like, "Oh, I went through some of your tunes. They're all right. And then I was like, "I'll send you some more," and I sent them to him, and he was like, "They're okay. Like there's just something missing," and like he's like, "They're too clean. They're missing like some rogue elements or like some dissonance, something to make them a bit like work in a club." And I was like, "Okay, yeah." I just took it on board. It's always like it's good to take feedback like that, but it's also quite like difficult, right? Because you're just like, okay, what does they even like? I sort of know what you mean, and I'd only really had a couple of tunes on Spearhead at that point, and then I made Leave. And I sent it to him, and he was like, I want that for Solar. And I was like, fuck, right, okay, that's really cool. And he was like, I'm playing at Fabric again, you're going to come down. And then he played it, and I think I was a bit stoned, I can't remember, but he played it, right? And I was with Lucy, and she was like, oh, are you playing your tune? And I was like, we're going now. And she's like, what? And I was like, we're going now, right? Because in my mind, it sounded it's like, I've just ripped off a Calibre tune here, like one called Keep Control. And I was like, so we went home, and I was like, I had to pull it on in the car and just check. Have I ripped off, look, Lucy, listen, have I ripped off this tune? She's like, no, what are you talking about? So then so we started working with Solar, and then I did I can't remember, I did Walking Blues, and I did an EP, and then it got to the album. But he was like a really, the amount my tunes progressed in that sort of like short time. One, he taught me one thing about tunes was like, he said you can't have too complicated elements, right? He's like, if your drums are complicated, your bass needs to be simple, or he was just like, you can get like one thing's there needs a center point,
a main character,
and that's why my drums are pretty static, right? And it's a deliberate, conscious thing, because then I give myself room for melodies and pianos and stuff. And then the thing that sort of changed it all, because I struggled with production for a long time, it's like with Leave, I didn't use a snare, just use a rim shot, right? And I'd been trying to write pendulum snares for about 5 years, and they just get in the way of the piano, anything musical, they just get in the way.
Yeah.
So when it was gone, I was like, oh shit, I've got all this room to make the sort of mix work out. So that's just sort of that sort of period. So and I think, he was obviously big supporter of my music. And then when it come to doing an album, I was like, Hospital have shown interest, and Shogun and a couple of others, and I'm like, I'm going to go and speak to them. And he was like, yeah, all right. And I think what I didn't know at the time, I think Marcus had nurtured a few artists. You can see some of them have their early big successes on Soul Art, and then they go somewhere else, right? And I think that hurt him quite a lot, actually. It really hurt him. There's some really prominent cases where he'd really nurtured them, and then they just went. And he did think that maybe the infrastructure of the label weren't that supportive. But I went and sat, and then they called him up, and I was like, do you know what? No, I'm not I don't care about these, because some of them are offering you a career, right? And I was still working. And you can go full time because you're going to get. And I was like, no. I like Solar's where I want to be, right? It's what I love. So let's do it. And I think that sort of helped our bond as well, because and then at that point it would become a bit clearer that he was a bit worried that I'd be the next one that he'd sort of nurtured a bit and supported, and then I just pissed off for the money or for the prestige of
yeah. I'll be honest, I couldn't imagine that album on any other label.
It wouldn't have worked. It's got too many sample.
That's what
and also it's just really it's quite he indulged me to allow to do what I wanted to do. There's 8-minute tunes on there or whatever. It's long. It's 72 minutes. Only 11 tracks or something. So he allowed me that creativity. He didn't really interfere too much, other than whether he liked it or not. And there's a couple that he didn't like that just didn't go on there, and they were good decisions. So it's very, very important, and dearly missed. Right?
Yeah. And is the album? So I've never known. Is it content or content?
It's content. So it's almost it's got and it seems mad, because when was it?
2016 or 17?
16 maybe.
2016, I think.
2016.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it was at that point it was a sort of play on the fact that felt like we were all being content creators.
Yeah, I kind of thought that.
Yeah,
was
and
what it was.
And it was almost like an ironic name. But then, if you think about how it's changed since then, they seem like really innocent days. Of, the odds like Instagram's in its infancy. There's no TikTok or whatever. So so it's content.
Yeah.
But then it's obviously I'm quite content, right?
Yeah.
It's
I mean, it's honestly one of modern era again. As far as albums go, it's one of the best put together
album,
for sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
We spoke about a lot of your tunes on that top 10 thing, to be fair, as well.
Yeah.
The Optimist is still
I was going to say, you
so
and Harry love
regularly
that
strung on
tune.
sets, man. We'll never stop playing that tune. It's just so good.
That one worked. I'm very happy with that one.
Yeah. Was that the first tune on the album as well? Is it the,
that's four. No, it's
What's the opening?
Lydian.
Ah, yeah.
So it's I'm really proud of that album. It's like you mentioned it on the Unglued thing. It's like it's like a point of time, right, in your life.
Yeah.
And I think it was really quite creative, and I was really quite comfortable to just sort of develop a sort of sound, and I wasn't really that fussed about like anything that anyone else was doing, really. And I'm really I don't know if I'd be able to do another album yet. I was
going to ask that. Yeah, well, you did the Blue Arrow as well, obviously.
Yeah, Blue Arrow.
Collaborative.
Which was like an amazing experience with Del, and it was really like it come together really quickly. We wrote a lot of it on the road, and like we did tour a lot in America, and I was like on the plane writing sketches, and then we get to an Airbnb and we just like have a mic on a toilet roll or whatever, and we just like do some bars, and then we just sort of come together really quickly. And that was really different. So I got like a lot of live instrumentation on there. I can't play for shit, but like just like got people in that could play to like replay samples. So it was a very, very different process, and like it's very raw. And I look back at it and I'm like, sometimes like I could have, like knowing what I know now, it could sound better. But I think probably, I don't know if it was the first sort of DJ MC like full album, but it possibly was. Like I can't think of too many, and it's now perhaps a more acceptable thing, or a more like sort of thing that you might see like coming out, like producers and MCs working together. And we
I don't think there's any other.
I can't.
Yeah, I can't like.
There are since, but yeah, we've seen before. Of course, Wine EP Money did albums.
Yeah, Wine EP Money did one.
Oh yeah.
That's the classic grime D&B crossover, though, mate. That's not a D&B team, is it?
Monroe and Dusky, though, that's gotta happen. That's it. That's
It's like I think, I think like one of the things with the DJ MC like dynamic is it just got really imbalanced, and I think like Del's helped address that. And like we would never like if we play a show together, it's never like anything other than us together on a level, right? It's not like it's not one like I like a show with Del is like is always my favourite show to play. If it's Space Age or we're just playing, and it's like it's an act, right? It comes together. Whereas I think like sometimes the MC's been a little bit like disposable or replaceable, and certainly like maybe not in promoters' minds, but just in the sort of like even where it is sometimes on flyers and the concept. And I just come from an era where the MCs just like I just place them at like a good MC like makes a night. A bad MC can like really, really hinder a night, and like so you need to like nurture and cherish as a scene like those that we have, because. Well, thankfully, there's some more coming through at the moment, but for a time it looked really, really bleak. It looked really bleak, and you're just like, what's going to happen when these guys want to like wind down? And we just like the scene, like we need to like nurture the talent and make sure like they're treated well, and it can't just be like, oh, here's 50 quid for 4 hours, and it's like 10 till 12 and 4 till 6 or whatever. It's just like it can't. We need to, and I think, like, I'm sure, Rich, you might feel differently, but there's certainly steps to make to redress that. And I think, like, Del's been a part, like, he stepped out of it really to the point and just, like, he's an artist, right? And that's, like he releases so, like, he's got so much music, it flows out of him. And it's, like, paving the way for, like, a new generation, I suppose.
He's literally, like, the one guy that's commanding that, like, really. And that is where it needs to change, is that I think there's more of a vocalist era coming through, with like MCs being vocalists as well, like actually like recording artists effectively. And he's definitely been the guy that's obviously paved that way, like for all the people coming through. But I was on a solo episode that we were like doing recently, where I was saying that if I was an upcoming MC looking at like the state of play of the last 5 years, would I be, because I thought it was a viable career opportunity when I was coming through, because it was. You were rewarded for loyalty, like all these sort of like the ethos of D&B when we came through is a totally different animal now. There's much less loyalty. Like if you just hang, you're just not rewarded for just being about and like staying in the game. Obviously level of talent, but it's like it's very quick flash, and like you can be thrown out the window like very quickly. Loyalties are lost much more easily, I think, these days.
Yeah, difficult because the scene grew from such a small community where people really, really looked after each other. I mean, I don't like. My perception of it is just like it's my the reality's perception or whatever the phrase is. It's like I see encouraging signs like for the MCs and the vocalists being put more front and center.
Yeah,
but like I'm not saying it's like perfect, and I think it's like it's a balance that will probably take like quite a long time to like fully redress. But if the scene's gonna sustain for another 30 years, it needs to be, because without like your GQs and like it's just not the same, right? And it never will be. So like I'd have
to give a shout out to North Quarter, because their posters, the way they do it,
they put
it's just literally one line like that, and everything's same size text, like just alphabetical order.
Everyone knows
just little things, just feel little things like that. I think
you
really,
don't need to put
really
MCs. Like you can then someone just looks up the artist. It's like,
well, that's it. Either everybody knows who everybody is on the flyer, so it doesn't matter, or they don't. In which case, it doesn't matter. Just get them through the door, and then they'll see all of these great artists, MC or producers or DJs, like regardless. Like. I agree.
I hope we're on the rise, just to like kind of, because you kind of like led me in. I do hope to be positive about that. I think, in all honesty, the perspective you're speaking from is like so refreshing for me to hear. I was literally going to say like, I love you, mate. Like, I love you too. For like championing it, because a lot of maybe Pete, like I'd like to. Like DJs who are watching this, there's a responsibility there, because the DJs are in control of this, really. You're either going to give your MC space, and you're either going to give a shit about having an MC or not. And there's a lot of people out there right now that are picking up a mic and doing that, and that is cringe as fuck, just to let you guys know. But that is awful. And
you're saying DJs doing that, you say?
DJs doing that is just not the one at all, man. It's like, either get a good host, pay him accordingly, show him that you actually respect him, so that he like him or her, like, and that's the way it should just operate. And I think, I don't know, like, I'd like to be hopeful. You know, I am with people like Jon around, because like I looked round the other day. You know, we can get into this on the next episode. We record probably a little bit more, but I just can't tell you how much that like means to some, like to me, to look round after like Lengen a 64, watching a crowd actually go a little bit nuts for it, and turning around and you and Tom are just there like giving me like like literally like fucking and it's like that. And what you're doing with Del, you know, the space age thing, you're saying how it's all like nicely like orchestrated, so it gives room to shine. It's like if the MC is talented enough and you give them that space, a crowd will get it. But with no room in a set for an MC and just vocal tracks and all this stuff, the live MC is not going to survive in an environment like that. And I've lived and breathed it over the past like 7-8 years, longer than that. Because like with Wilco, you know, it's the same thing. The term host is a dead term to me. If you're a host MC, you ain't an MC. You're just someone there. There's an element you need to do, but you need to be spitting bars to be actually championing the
I think
art form.
I can agree with all of that. I think like there's something distorted in it, right? Because if you go to, I don't know, any festival where it's got like 200 DJs or whatever, and then there's like 10 MCs or 20 MCs, right? There's no set. There's very rarely is there like a big set without an MC, right? And I just don't understand how like the supply and demand of it's got so distorted, where like it's just become acceptable that, I don't know, a DJ will get X, but an MC to get the same is going to have to do 10 sets. And it's just like, actually, if you think about it, there's a limited resource of talent, and usually it'd be the other way around, right? You'd be in demand.
Yeah.
So you should get, the pay should go up, and then that like attracts, like makes it seem like there's a career that can then attract a lot of talent. Because I don't believe, like around the UK, in the streets, there ain't kids just spitting bars to tracks or copying bars like they were. Like, I mean, in my time, quite often it was to garage, because that was the age that I was in Essex, right? Everyone was into garage, but like there's like a broad talent pool. So I don't like. I think it can be there. It just sort of needs to be like nurtured. And I think like there's a couple of like there's a couple of things that maybe like that seem encouraging. That maybe it's just like perhaps misguided perception. I see that there's more visibility of MCs and vocalists. I see that we seem to be more attracting young black community into the music a little bit more. Like
it's definitely picking up.
It's not
definitely agree with that.
It's not like it's not where it like was or it should be, but it's like there's seeds in there, like where it seems like it's like maybe the grooves back in the music or whatever, like it becomes more attractive to.
Hospitality this weekend was one thing I noticed. I was like, I can actually see way more multicultural.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I thought the same.
I remember being like a 16-year-old kid going raving and be like, that one of the main things I loved about it was like, wow, like look at this like spread of like people, like this is beautiful, like.
And then not calling them out, but just you remember back around about the first time they did Hospitality in the Park, and you remember going to that festival, and every show was just so not like that.
Yeah,
and it was like, what's happened?
It did get really white at one
point.
It's been super white for a while, man. Yeah, it's been.
But that was like a bit of an eye opener for me. Like I remember going that year and being like, damn, there's so many people in this festival, and everyone's white.
Yeah,
like I think the music got really like, particularly like big room liquidy stuff, become very straight in its like just become almost like quite white and European really in its, its appeal. So like it just feels like there's signs that it's becoming broader. There's been like some good stuff that's gone in, like underrepresented groups performing. There's a lot more women performing, which is good. So there's definitely like seeds that's like it's encouraging for the longer term future of the scene, because there was times where it looked like it had become very, very white and it had become very middle class, and I don't know that it just at that point it not quite jungle drum and bass to me.
Not me either.
One thing I wanted to go back to, because I think we spoke about it near the start with the kind of your writing process, because it's quite interesting. I think the last maybe 3 guests we've had on, so maybe if I'm thinking like Josh, Sattel, Kian is one who hasn't come out yet, and also even like Alex Particle, kind of all have a very similar mindset to that writing, which is like just be in the studio all the time, consistency, kind of doing your reps.
Yeah, I know. I saw Josh's like gym thing. I heard it as well today. And I mean, he's been in the gym a lot as well. And like, it's just like
that's why I made that reference in the post. I was just like, literally, it's just Josh. Isn't it?
Wham, guy now. But obviously, we speak like sometimes when we see each other about like writing and stuff. And I know you're very like patchy in the way that it comes. I know you kind of mentioned it already, like just patchy in the way things come together. Like, have you kind of like? And it kind of sounded like you had a little bit, had a process to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, like almost supercharge that process a little bit. So like you were saying at the moment you're in like kind of a warm-up phase. Like how does that all work? Like,
so I like my writing process is like, first of all, I think like I still got like a natural imposter syndrome, charlatan feel, where I sometimes like, and this sounds really cringe, but it isn't. Like sometimes I have to go back and listen to my own tunes to remember that I can write tunes, or like just like because I genuinely sometimes get in the studio and I'm like, fuck, I'm like what am I doing? I don't like, everything sounds crap.
Yeah.
Like and that used to stress me out, but now I just walk away, right? Or I'd like do some sampling or I listen to some music and just like know it will come. But what I do is a lot of sort of sparring where I'm. Like it's interesting that I think Josh said that he'd like played all his own stuff, and he's like, I'm still like a sample guy, and I think that's, I work really hard on sampling, and what I mean by that is I won't touch splice, won't touch anything like that, especially not for music. I don't hate on it. Like I've heard some amazing tunes that I know are splice, but like I kind of feel that I can separate myself out by like finding stuff, and it's like. I think someone said it about Daft Punk, like the secret of Daft Punk was they would find other people's music that sounds like Daft Punk, and then they'd be able to do that. So I just listen to so much music, and half of it is so bad. Well, 90% of it is so bad, just to find like little moments, and it'll be like a tone, and then that will strike like some sort of chord with me. So still like I do, so a lot of that at the moment is I'm just listening to music, grabbing bits, I'll chuck it in a folder, don't know if it's going to work, but I put it there, and when I come to a writing session, I sort of just play around with it. And then what this is interspersed with is like moments of like really, really like intense creativity where like, I think like The View, Walking Blues and Leave are essentially all in the same sort of Ableton project where I've been writing one and then like another idea's come, but I've just saved it as.
Yeah.
So like I know that was all like
I've been writing,
or whatever. I've been writing for like 19 years.
Yeah.
And like 3 of my probably more prominent tunes were done in like a 2-week period or a week period.
Yeah.
And then like similarly with like the Blue Hour, it's just like I was in quite a good creative space, and then with Del there to bounce off, and like knowing that I could almost just send like an instrumental or really basic stuff, and then he would write to it, and then I could write round it. I found that really, really creative. So yeah, it's just like it's just bursts of creativity, a lot of sort of shadow boxing. I spend a lot of time not so much at the moment, but I had like when I'm like my happiest place is like in the studio, just fucking around, just like, and also like one of the other things is that I don't, I kind of think of music quite often in colours. That's why it's called the Blue Hour, really. Is that like sometimes I hear things and I'm always searching for this like sort of shade of like a deep blue shade, and I can hear it with certain chords, and that's why like certain tunes like The Optimist is a great example. Sketch from My Sweetheart, a few of those ones like all sound quite a similar sort of colour to me, and I'm always looking for that sort of, well, mainly I'm looking for that sort of colour. But I'm definitely not a virtuoso. Like I can't just like pull it out. It's like happy accidents or collages, and I think that I have an idea of what I want it to sound like, and I don't necessarily have like the aptitude or to execute it. So sometimes it just takes fucking ages.
Yeah,
right?
You know what? It's actually really nice to hear, because me definitely way more similar to how you write. Like I've been sat opposite these guys that are all just like, yeah, I just sit in the studio for 7 hours a day and just write like 100 tunes. I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't do that. But I guess obviously full-time job as well. You've got you kind of have to fit it around your schedule.
And it's just, like I think like I'm going to take some time off work at some point.
Yeah,
I've got September off, but I'm going to take an extent. I need a break. I've worked really hard for a few years just to like get my family in a position. But I'm just looking forward to like no pressure on. Just going to take time in the studio. I definitely, what I can't do, and it's a good muscle like memory thing, and I think I'd love to be able to do it. It's like I can't write a tune that I'm not into, if that makes sense. Like people can just like execute the writing process. They'll be like, I'm not sure if it's very good, but I'm just going to finish it.
Yeah.
And then you learn all the stuff about arrangement and stuff like that. I cannot do it. Just like if like it just bores me. I know it's not great. I'd be like, I'd rather like noodle around until I find like a 16 or a 32 that does excite me. And actually weirdly, like I was in the studio for about an hour today, and I had something that was like, I'm actually quite buzzing off that. So I'll go back tomorrow and it'll sound like shit, but you know, like
after test, classic, isn't it?
Like it probably sounded a bit like Pound Shop Caliber. But
Okay.
like that's probably as good as I'm going to get, really, isn't it?
It's not a bad place to be, to be honest. It's not a bad place to be.
Okay.
Well, if most of your music is the colour blue, like what colour is Pot Shot and also the remix of, is it When You're Alone, the remix?
Yeah,
like similar kind of vibe, them two tunes.
Yeah, they're not colour. Like I've not got like synesthesia. There's a certain thing.
I was actually going to ask.
Definitely. Like there's a blues and greens that I can really, really like sort of see when I hear the chord, but like that, like
just
I
red.
can't. Yeah, it's angry tune. Like Pot Shot, I think you were there when I first played it. Like Pot Shot was like really a spearhead. So what happened with that tune is that I'd built like a have you seen those like 128s in Ableton where you can do like 128 kicks, hats, snares, and build like a rack? So I just put loads of my like favourite like kick, hat, snares, claps, and these things were just all set to 1, and then press play, and that was the beat. And I was like, that's quite a good beat. And then I'd had like I got a Culture Vulture, which is quite a fun machine to play with, and I just had like an 808 and just distorted the fuck out of it, and then played a riff, and I was like, actually sounds quite good. And that was Pot Shot, basically. It was really like that happened really quickly.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm going to play this out, and it went down really well. But it was it's quite it's a bit different actually. I have wrote some heavy, and I do like I saw Break at Hospitality, and I was like, I'd love to be able to write like just a couple of tunes like this, like just fucking really groovy, but just like sick production and just like these like real screw face bass noises.
That new one, Grass is Greener.
Yeah, I was just like,
there's a lot of people saying that.
But the thing is,
everyone sits down there going, I wish I could fucking write.
But the thing is, right, and I'm like, I could get in the studio and I'm like, look, Break's put 20 years into his bass, right?
Yeah,
I'm not suddenly going to do it, right? Maybe if like glockenspiels were really popular, I've done like 20 years trying to get them right. Then maybe I could do it. But yeah, it's just so. I mean, maybe on my year off, maybe I'll try and write something like, because I do think that like there's like DLR break. There's a like they're writing. I think like really, really good like dancehall music with like this sort of groove
like
and
upfront
essence.
DMB,
Yeah, like it's just
It's groovy though. That's the thing.
yeah.
It's
That's just got
groovy.
funk in it,
Yeah.
And there's soul as well.
It's got like genuine funk in it.
And they use melody
Very
still.
complete, like
Yeah.
like for the sound it is. It's like just got everything.
And people go
on the way
mad
out,
for it as well.
We were saying on the way out of the festival, we were like, I think Break's one of the only. There's only like a handful of producers where like every corner of drum bass will play their tune. Like everyone will. I think Break's definitely one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
there's
there's
Mount Rushmore in it.
also,
Great caliber.
fairly well-known unwritten rule that you don't play your tunes after a break tune in a set because your tune's just going to sound like poo-poo
Yeah,
compared to
like
it.
shit. Yeah.
You play,
like,
you play
also
some
game the
tune
hell
by
out of
someone
it.
you don't really like.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fact.
Yeah, Charlie's an anomaly.
Yeah, so I mean, like when you're writing those, like, so you've written like a handful of. Actually, you know what's interesting? So I'm in this like massive DMB group chat with like loads of producers, and I said, "Oh, we've got Luke in the studio tonight. If anyone's got any questions," and I do have some questions.
Okay.
iPad's about to die, but it was actually Wings was posting loads of your like older tunes. He was like, yeah, Luke used to be quite like techie and like make a few heavier bits. Like he sent a few tunes that I actually hadn't heard before.
It's like it's like snap funk.
Yeah,
beep,
he sent
beep.
that. Yeah, beep. That's the two he
That's
sent,
very
yeah.
like that. Actually, weirdly, stands up to sound like relatively modern, even though it was made like years ago. Yeah, I got like I say is like my taste in D&B is probably broader than people expect when they hear a lot of like sort of my main music.
Yeah.
But I love a good groovy like techie D&B tune. Like not like there was an era like there's obviously like Ed Rush and Optical, that sort of era, which was just amazing. And then to me, like what was Neurofunk become just way too heavy for me.
Yeah.
But there's this sort of bit, and like Marcus was obviously an expert of it. Like Caliber can do some of it, where it's just like really, really inspired, groovy, like sort of bouncy sort of music. And I'd love to write more of it, but I just don't find it that easy, really.
Yeah,
and it's like a lot of execution in terms of the mix. So when You're Alone remix, like I was really happy with the mix down like that. Like, but it's just like it's just luck more than judgment.
Oh,
right?
that tune, mate!
It's a banger.
Come on,
Yeah.
I remember for a good like.
We were playing that out like every set.
Oh man, it just
yeah.
always went off. I remember that. I think actually, I watched you play somewhere and you played it. I think we were together and we lost our shit. I can't remember what that was. My memory's so bad.
Yeah,
it
was like, and then there was one on Shogun, like XLRS or whatever, which is kind of like, and I don't like maybe I would, I want to get back. I have this vision. I've got actually like a couple that I've sort of sketched out. I would like to just do like an EP that is just very much on that flex, and just sort of just put it out together. But I just got to get there and execute it really.
Yeah. I mean, tied into what I was saying, so I mean, I had some questions. I'll just quickly rattle a couple of them off because they were kind of related to what you were talking about. Yeah, two of them were literally like, how did the view come together? That was some Wings. And then Jamie Zeon's was like, why did you write Pot Shot? But I think you've kind of answered the question.
Yeah, Pot Shot was just fun, right? It's just fun. Like, and I do, I suppose to me, it was like a modern take of like the Bristol sort of mid-90s sound, like just a big, like prominent, bit wobbly bass. It sounds a bit drunk. It's got like this like distortion tone.
Loads of pitch.
It does sound like a full circle, modern full circle tune.
And if you listen to it, it's got like loads of like distortion. That's just like the valve on the Culture Vulture, like starves it, and it just makes this like really curious noise, and it just sort of left it in. It just sort of works, right?
He built his career for that tune. To be fair, his Red Bull freestyle.
Oh yeah, he used it on the Red. And like, do you know what? MCs love that tune. Like, they just like loads of them like
Just loads of space in it.
Yes,
Got to give props to Loki because he actually. You see, I don't know if you clocked, but I actually MC'd on your set.
Oh, did you? Yeah. I still got my head down.
That's how it
literally. Loki was like, "This is you, innit?" Like to me, and I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Yeah, come on, this is you." Because where had he seen it? Oh, there's this MC. You know the group you're in, that we're in, the DJ one. It's like Mad People. Someone started an MC one of those,
nice.
And like Texas did a Pot Shot freestyle to it actually, and he put something in there because people just sharing their stuff. And I actually found out that video that I had done, one Pot Shot, the Red Bull freestyle, had over 100,000 views on it, and it's not on Facebook anymore. They've taken a bunch of stuff down, like a bunch of the drum and bass Swift 16s got taken down. So I sort of said it, And then it was just funny. Loki, like big up Loki, like what a G. And he just called me up, and I like ran round, did it to the crowd.
I didn't know it.
So dope. To be fair, you couldn't hear anything in that booth from an MC perspective.
yeah.
Like it was impossible. But I wouldn't say built my career off it, John. But well played.
And then the view was all right. So, just the view was there, and it was a nice track, and I knew it needed a vocal. And weirdly, like Lucy, like we sketched out a line, and Lucy, she can hold a note, right? But to me, she sounded like Pingu. She's so like, it was like, and I was just like, oh. But so then when I sent like a load to Del for his album, and he was like, I got this one with Tyler, it's sick. And I played it. I just played it on my laptop speakers at home, and Lucy felt really shunned, and she was like, no, I don't really like it.
She could have shut down an absolute anthem.
She absolutely, yeah. So I like, and it was right, and so it was I was probably playing it for about a good 12, 18 months before it come out, right? And it was weird. I'd play it, and like, no one would really be massively like going wild or anything, but everyone afterwards would come and ask me about it, and I was like, I think we're onto a good one here. And it's sort of become like I don't know, like an underground anthem, I suppose, and like fucking thank you Tyler and Del, because it made my career. I can't thank them enough, because it like propelled me to another level completely and put me like in a lot of people's like eye shot, I suppose. But it's sort of mainly all them. It's just like, it's pretty basic tune, but it gives them it just gives them room to like shine. And I think like Tyler's vocals on there is probably one of the best like drum and bass vocals there's ever been.
Yeah. Comfortably.
So,
yeah.
I mean, definitely, but you're still being way too humble. It's not a basic tune. Like you're doing your bit here, Luke.
Yeah,
like, they're sick, and like obviously, all elements needed, but. Yeah, like
the one thing that's like not deliberate about that tune, which sort of works, and I don't really know why I did it in the writing process. So essentially, for Del's bars, it sort of changes key. Like it doesn't like it sort of like goes from a relative, but doing that sort of like it's something about it. And you probably don't like instantly notice, but it just creates that sort of like light and darker element, and then it comes back to the light. And I just think it's just sort of. Like really like helps make the tune. It's just it was just an unconscious thing.
He's having a moment of realization.
Yeah, bro, I'm literally singing the song in my head, and I'm like, oh my fucking god, it does.
Like I think it sort of goes from, I'm not massively music, because it's in like D flat minor, but I think Del's bits is like in E major, which is like the relative
minor.
Sort of like it just sort of switches with an arp and takes a bit out, but then that sort of contrast allows for the MC bars, and then it switches up, and it just like it's like a minor. And that, I think, like you work with a.
I'm going to be studying this when I go home.
Maybe steal that little trick. But I'm not like it wasn't even like a massively conscious thing, and it wasn't really necessarily written to have the MC bars there. It just sort of works.
I mean, I think you said it. It's an underground anthem is the right way to describe it. It's probably one of the few sing-alongs that we've got, really.
Yeah. It's not like, and the people do, still love singing it, right? It's fucking amazing, right?
Some of the best moments I've had in a rave have been to that tune.
Yeah, like that Sun and Bass helped make it, I think, a lot.
I think that's a big.
So like big up those guys, really.
Yeah, I mean, masterpiece, mate. Emperor said, just thanks for the great Twitter takes, and thanks for the emu desk breaks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Emperor says, thanks for those. Also, you're good value on Twitter. They have to say that.
I haven't been on there so much now.
You're not tweeting as much now.
Is it 'cause it's X now?
Yeah, because Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Like,
Come do it on Threads, mate. Do it on Threads. I don't want to be on Twitter, and I'm on Threads.
Like, I don't know if Twitter's. I still look at it. I deleted it off my phone at one stage because it was just like crypto and porn bots.
Yeah, that's actually facts. Yeah.
And then but I don't know if anyone's on there. I thought it was a ghost town for drum and bass.
I'm still on there, but I don't tweet it now. I'm just there for like the football banter. Now that's back. Now if it was back, like the banter's good again.
You're there for all forms of gossip, mate. Come on.
Can all the like drum and bass Twitter heads just like claim Threads and just make it what Twitter used to be?
Yeah,
because I'll stick around for that.
I feel like some of the older drum and bass guard really quite like the functionality of Twitter. Like if I go on there, it's mostly like I think about the older people that I'm like
on there
friends
a lot.
with.
Hype's on there a lot.
Yeah. It's just simple,
Is Dom and Roland still on there?
Probably.
Actually, I haven't seen a tweet from him in a while, to be fair.
we had some funny moments.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This is just highlighting to me who I clearly don't follow on Twitter.
No,
There was some good
no hate on Dom at all.
There was some good back and forth.
But there was a couple.
For sure.
We agree on a taste of music, but not necessarily a political views.
Yeah,
but
yeah, that
it's
was
all good. We can
that
have
was a big chapter in D&B Twitter. That was. Last one, Alex Parker said, "Can you send him the NR remix of Pot Shop?" That was his.
It was
request.
coming out.
Is it?
I've got the vinyls. I got the vinyl. Like test presses are done. I think the full one comes in. It probably might, by the time it shows, it might be out. I think.
Yeah.
I've got like and I was just on fire, so I got another EP of his as well.
I was going to say, I haven't.
You have. Yeah.
Yeah,
that
yeah. I
EP 's
mean, it's amazing.
I hadn't
That
heard
EP's
from
sick.
Matt in so many years, and then out of the blue, just got a message from him, and he sent us just a load of new music, and it said
Yeah.
Footnotes in the track titles, and I was like, oh
That like
yes,
SX.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like,
one.
so I got that coming on the
I
label.
played that in Fabric, and it like felt like the perfect tune for
Yeah,
that
it's
as well,
very.
but
It's definitely a fabric style tune.
Yeah, it's sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's coming out soon, and he's got a little garage cut on it as well that he's done,
been
which
playing
is
that.
fun.
Been playing that.
Yeah.
So actually, that's actually ties into nicely because we haven't really spoken about Footnotes like specifically, but 6 years. I checked on Spotify. I think the first release was in 2018.
2018. Yeah.
6 years in, and like, what's been your kind of like? Yeah, what's been the highlights that really like, and how have you found like? Because you are a label that will put out other people's music
Yeah.
as well, which is obviously a whole different kettle of fish to just releasing your own. Because then suddenly you've got a responsibility for like A&R and kind of feedback and all of this stuff. How have you found that?
Well, so like the label was like, it was never planned. So like the first EP, A New Day, it was meant like the plan with the content album was to have the single, the album, and then like could be called like the Footnote, which was the EP which had Tripped, New Day, Drifter, and which I thought Spectracell would play twice on Saturday.
Yeah.
Apparently you'd played it.
I played it,
I just mixed it up in my head. I was like,
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
play this tune
You were
again.
saying that to me, and
Yeah, I
I
was
was like,
like-
Did you text me that? I know.
No,
No,
I
someone.
did.
Yeah, I did. Someone told me that. Yeah.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, and I was just like, no, I think you'd played it before. It's just nice. Haven't heard that tune out for a while.
Mate,
I think it's quite nice, that tune.
Some of your tunes, like I don't know how to like.
timeless.
They're timeless, but also
Timeless
like
is the
so good
best
to DJ with as well, though.
Oh,
Like
wow.
your
Yeah,
tunes
nice.
double with lots of other really good tunes as well.
he
So just-
played 2 of your tunes, didn't he?
Who?
Because I turned to you at one point and went, "Oh, I haven't had this for ages."
Oh, yeah, he played Losing You because
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, what is
yeah.
And
this?
then he was like, going,
what is this?
What is this? And I was like, looking at you, and you went, "Oh yeah, it's one of mine, isn't it?"
I mean, that's quite that. Like, once I went up to a DJ and asked them the tune, and it was one of mine. And I think they must have thought I was like just trying to be like, I was like, no, that one. I'm just like sometimes in my
Essex
memory,
lad.
like I just sort of, I was like, I know this tune, and I just couldn't place it. It's like, that's really yours. I didn't do that on purpose, right?
That's so.
What were we talking about? I can't
We
remember.
were talking about
Footnotes.
Footnotes.
Oh, yeah. So,
the origin of the Footnotes.
So then suddenly I sort of had to do a label because I was just going to be, I was sort of all in on Solar.
Yeah.
And then it just felt quite natural to just put out some other stuff like some Anal, Tokyo Pro stuff. I didn't want to be like nabbing other labels, artists particularly. And it's just sort of stuff that were sort of friends or like, you know, people that send you music that I liked. And then at the moment, I'm trying to do like a various artists thing with like quite a lot of, I suppose, up and coming producers that I like.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting, but it's an administrative nightmare, right? Like, 'cause
Yeah.
I've got like, I think it's like 15 tunes to get like, and I'm not disciplined like someone like Taya Lensman. He's very, very organised.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, you know, like your hospitals and stuff, they have like strict schedules. I'm not like that. I'm just like, yeah, whenever it will happen. And I've just realised it's just taking forever. But I really like, I want to go and get that mastered like next week and then I'll send it out. So like, I'm excited to be doing that. And especially for some of them, it'll be like their first vinyl release because
Sick.
I'm still like, to me, it's really important for me to be releasing vinyl.
Yeah.
But it is more and more difficult, like sending it to Europe. Like a lot of the market was in Europe and the US, and it's
Brexit
stuff. But like, I think some of the issues are resolved, but like the confidence in the market, like you're not going to get a customs charge or whatever's gone. But yeah, I'm still like really determined to do that for as long as I can. Maybe it might need to change. That it's not every release, and it's like some compilations. But yeah, like that's one of the things. Like I was talking earlier about, like my like recommitment to myself and my career and to the music is to like work the label properly, right?
Yeah.
It's to like support music that I like, and try and make it. Like I don't have desires on being like a big like brand and stuff like that, but just like a label that puts out some nice music, maybe does a cool night here and there, and there's a nice following. Like this, it's not like super lofty ambitions, but I just want it to be like something to be proud of, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's really nice with, especially like guys like you and like you said, Tear as well, like just kind of giving back to the scene a little bit as well. Like you were talking about bringing some newcomers through, and I think with our side of the scene, let's call it, I think there's less motivation for people to basically make that kind of music now.
Yeah, because it's not. Yeah,
it's not really popping.
No one's championing it.
No one's championing
at first glance. When you're on the outside looking in.
So that's why I'm really like appreciative of when, like I said, guys like yourself and Lesbian are doing that, because I think it's really important, man. And also, like, I remember when I first came through, me and somebody used to send you some terrible tunes, and you would give us feedback, and I was like, you really don't have to do that. But like now, like when people send me tunes, I just remember like 9 years ago, I was like,
you're reciprocating
and like,
you
I'd be like, oh, can you listen to this tune or whatever? And like, I think
it's really important. It's important to give back, and like I do think that like it should have that sort of element of community, because like I know we're at number one right now, but like it's still a niche community full of like odds and misfits, and you know, like, and it's very important that it can't have too many people just taking, right? We need to, and it's good. I'm probably not the greatest at it, but it's one of the things I want to get better as I get more time to do it.
And then for yourself, projects wise,
so
you said you're just kind of getting back into the groove.
Yeah, like
maybe a club EP.
Yeah, I want to like there's a few things. I'll probably put like one track on the various artists, and then one that I've done with Woody, and we've sketched out a few things. I want to do a bit more collaborations. I'm not a great collaborator. I mean, we've tried to ping something back and forward, but I'm not great in person unless like there's a really solid formed idea, because I just, you know, I'm one of these people, as I say, like it doesn't naturally flow. So you could easily spend 8 hours with me and it'd be unproductive, and I'd feel really guilty about it. But once you get an idea,
we've had this a few times. Don't worry. Pola and Bryce and Galaxy have tried to make tunes together like 10 times.
We spend most of the time watching football.
Yeah,
you lot spend most of the time watching football.
We'll just start playing PlayStation. Like, just do other things.
Yeah, but like, I think like sometimes like it's got a like there's. I think, well, for me personally, I know when I feel like I'm going to be able to write, and there is a skill in just being like, no, it ain't working. It's just like, let's just have fun and bond and connect. And, and like, it will happen when it's happened. I had a Noah around last week, and we got a couple of sketches done. He's a really quick writer. He just fucking smashes them out. So yeah, I'd like to do a bit more like collaborating, I think, and just like see where it goes. Like, I think, still like the EP format, like 4 tracks. It's becoming less and less like popular. It's all very, very single focused. And I love an album. I just like if something comes, if an idea comes together, like me and Del talk about doing a follow up, and it's sort of on me at the moment. And I'm like, Del, I'm just not in the space where I'm giving like I can give you like good tracks, but as soon as it comes, we'll go. Yeah, and then as I say, just I feel like a lot more connected, and actually I feel like, as I say, like when I'm like, oh, I want to write a break style tune or whatever, I feel like there's a lot buzzing around in the head where I'm excited to try things, and hopefully, like, you know, there are a couple of good things will come out of it. So yeah, the last thing I wrote was like the remix for Technomatic in a little
the Kota remix. Yeah. It's nice to hear that. Like I said, I feel like I'm very similar to you. And at the moment, I'm in that space where it's like exciting at the moment.
Yeah, that's good, and it's great.
Like, things are actually coming out of it. And it's like, it's a good feeling.
Yeah. And I, like, it's weird. Like I reckon 98% of the time, I'm like, I'm fucking shit. Like, and then, but there's like 2% where I'm like every now and then, I'm like, oh, I'm actually really good. I'm really and then I have to check myself. But I'll be on my own, and I'll just be like dancing around the studio, or I'll go and have to sometimes
the studio chair skank is like one of the key things to know that you're on a vibe. Like if you find yourself just like, that's how you know.
I pace around, right? If I've got a really good idea and I almost become overwhelmed with it, and I have to like walk around the block to like gather my thoughts. And I'm just like, fuck. Because like the thing is with like what's amazing about like any sort of like artistry, like whatever it is, but like with music, like one tune can potentially change like the course of like your journey in life, and it might like. I mean, I'm sure we've all had amazing feedback for like really humbling feedback with people where they're like, oh, that tune or that thing you did, like it really helped me in some sort of time. So you just you're always like on the precipice of just doing something that might make a difference, like positive difference, either to yourself or to someone else. And that is like an exciting place to be. And I think the moment you sort of lose that spark, then it's it's probably time not to, And
Yeah.
I feel like I've still got that.
Yeah. It's weird actually. I was having this conversation with, it might have been Tom actually. I was talking to someone about it, and they were kind of saying to me like, "Isn't it like amazing? Like, you get to do this, and you get to travel around the world and stuff." And I think I was basically complaining about something about being tired or whatever it was.
Bali flight, wasn't it, mate?
Maybe the Bali.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. Oh no, my life is terrible. I have to go to Bali. It wasn't even that. It was just more like, I think I said basically to them, I was like, I think that they were on stage playing. I don't get, you just get like the goosebumps and the buzz. Like, I think the day that's gone is probably the day I know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Done
Yeah,
with it, but it's still there, man. Yeah. And it's nice to hear that. And it's nice to hear about you saying basically you're actively trying to reconnect as well, because I think that's quite easy to like forget as well.
I think we all know, like, we go to certain, like, it's easy to just be backstage and just like,
yeah.
It's not very fun backstage.
It also doesn't sound very good either.
No, it doesn't sound very good. And also, like, I'm a bit awkward. A lot of drum and bass is a bit awkward, so you can have a lot of awkward conversations backstage, and it's like you're not really like making the most of it. So yeah, just like get out, even if it's just for half hour or whatever. Just like get out there and like well, if that's what you love. Like, I suppose some people like didn't come into drum and bass from the clubs. They come in through, I don't know, streaming or gaming or whatever, and they started making it. But certainly for me,
that's what Sal was saying, wasn't it? He was straight into production. Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. So
yeah.
like, it's just like, whereas for me, it's like the thing that I really want to try and like marry is this sort of like I don't know what it is. Like FD says, like, I write floaters. That sounds a bit weird, right? But like this sort of
great
like
term. Though,
yeah. Like, but like that, like something that to me sounds like melancholic, and the stuff that I listen to in all the other music that I listen to, but that somehow it can work on a dance floor and people can have a moment to it. So I suppose to be able to understand that, you need to sort of understand like the other side of it. You can't just be always this side of the decks, 5 minutes in, 5 minutes out. And there was a good 2 years where I just got into that habit, right? Just become too easy, in and out, do the set, never really like being a proper DJ because you're not seeing what's going about, and never really like connecting with everyone around. So that I'm really actively trying to change that. But you know what? I've been loving it as well. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
Some sets recently. Really love Saturday. Liquidity was really cool. Like just some really cool shows, and like seeing DJs and like you and Flavor D at like the after party.
That was really fun, man.
Yeah, and it was just like hearing tunes that I probably hadn't heard like 80% of those tunes before. I hadn't got a clue what it was. And like I like after Hospitality in the Beach, I was like pinging around. There was like a 0T and L-Side's tune on V that got played a lot, and I'd heard it for a couple of times, and I managed to find it on Beatport, and it was really exciting, right? It had been ages since I'd like gone almost like back in 20 years ago, you'd hear something out and you'd have to go to a record shop and flick through white labels. It was a bit different, but it was exciting to be like, oh, right, I heard this tune a couple of times. I'm going to find it. I'm just going to go and find it. And I did. And it was kind of a bit of a buzz, really.
Yeah. That's good to hear, man. There's loads I haven't asked you on this list, but I think we're going to have to do a part 2 because otherwise we're just not going to do it justice. But we always have a bit at the end, which is about just, self-promotion, basically. Shameless plug. What have you got to plug?
I'm not great at the self-promotion. So like, I think like we're touring Space Age, London, Manchester.
You did the US as well, right?
Yeah, we did the US.
Yeah.
We'll go back down. How was the US?
Yeah,
really good actually. Do you know what? We played one night in Denver.
Black Box.
Oh
my God, what a venue!
Yeah, but like it's an amazing venue. But like before, like about a week before, I realised that Headex and Mosey were playing like 300 meters up the road. And I was like,
no way.
we're done. But then there's like a queue around the corner. We're sold out, and it was just amazing for 2 hours. Yeah, the shows have been like we played Houston, LA, Stamina Sundays, Denver, and it must have been.
You did a show with Connor as well, Slater, innit, right?
Yeah. Of course, yeah. Did Portland.
Nice.
So yeah, that was cool. And we meant to be. It was a bit of a pain. We was meant to do a longer tour, and there was some visa issues.
Yeah, I remember you told me that put the fear of God in me.
But you were all right.
I sort of just got approved, so like,
yeah,
we're all good.
Yeah, just like so, it really put things out of sync. But yeah, doing Space Age, London, Manchester, Birmingham in October, which would be really cool. I'm really excited about. And then some NIL stuff on Footnotes, various artists. Like that's probably like the rest of the year sorted.
Nice. Yeah, and that and our EP, definitely be on the lookout for that because there's
there's
proper.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 absolute, like...
There's like almost like a DJ Hazardy tune on there as well.
Yeah, there's that's what I mean. It's probably... It's really heavy for Footnotes, but like, I like the thing is, I like how Anile does it, right?
It's like drum machine heavy though, isn't it? It's
and also like my sort of label philosophy is that like once like got an artist and I've like a couple of tunes and I want to work with them, I'm like, look, we're doing EP. Unless I like hate it, like it's like especially with Anile, right? So like Matt, he obviously went away for a while, and I think for various reasons in life, and he was signed to like med school, and like I don't like he is like his caliber for me, and then it's Anile, right? I rate him that highly, and I don't think it like he ever quite got the love that he deserved. That he's tuned.
We always say probably the most underrated producer.
Yeah, like absolutely.
Always say it, man.
So like when he was coming back and he was like writing his shit, I was like, these tunes are amazing, and like I was like, look, I don't want you to feel any pressure. Like you just tell me what you want to release, like when you want to release it, and then I'll make it happen for you because like I just believe in you completely. So like, and him and Mindstate have already done another EP, and it's fucking amazing. So like, like. It's quite like exciting, and it's good to be able to like push people, you know, like because it's as I say, Marcus was really, really good to me, and like I feel like I got to pay that forward.
Yeah,
love that.
Respect.
I think that's a really nice way to close out the episode, man. Well, hopefully we'll check Sky Sports in a second. It's a disastrous evening for you.
No.
Sitting in the room with 2 Arsenal fans.
No.
We can't do that. Like,
not live on camera. It could ruin the episode. But I just want to say thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
We're all massive fans, and so glad we could come and have this chat, mate. And we'll definitely have to do a part 2 if you're up for it. So
sick, definitely.
Amazing, cool. Thanks, bye. I never know to say bye to these episodes. I'm just like, now what do I do? Like,
that's fine.
Bye. Bye.